Hello and welcome to MSHGQM. So in this video, I'm going to attempt to code the free version of Conductor. So you're going to see the whole entire process, warts and all, from stem to stern, if you will. Literally, I'm going to start a new project and then just go at it. So basically, the idea for this video, this is a horrible idea. But we're going to do it anyway. But the idea for this, I did a session for Enterprise DNA Summit last week that were about how to code external tools for Power BI. And I kind of took the audience through some of the behind the scenes stuff in terms of the code and all that. Didn't do any actual coding, but just showed, here's the different pieces of parts and here's how things work. And so I've been feel like I've been kind of neglecting MSHGQM. I haven't released any new tools April in about 2 months or so as far as the free versions. And so I had this stupid idea that hey, I can just video myself, record myself doing the actual coding for the free version of Conductor, and then now that the community gets a free version of Conductor, and they get a video on how to code external tools, kind of in depth. Not that I am the world's greatest teacher for this. I just kind of hack my way through it. But yeah, that's the idea for this. And if you're not familiar, Conductor is the external tool within Power BI that I wrote with Enterprise DNA that allows you to manage your external tools and kind of group them and all of that kind of fun stuff. Anyway, you'll see it in operation, hopefully. We'll see where we get with this video in what amount of time. Hopefully it can keep this to an hour or two and get through everything, including installation, the install, and all of that. So and just to add to all of this, in my first time working with Visual Studio 2022, I've been working with Visual Studio 2019. This is my first time on this rig. I went out and bought a Surface laptop, 32 gigabytes to like 32-inch 4K monitors and everything. So I have a whole brand new rig that I'm using, and that's my first time using all of it. So just to make this probably more embarrassing than assured embarrassment, if you will. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to create a new project. And what I want is a G# WPF project. And what I want is this WPF app.NET framework. And why am I using this one? I don't know. It's the one I always use. This one works weird. Anyway, so we're just going to create this. And we're going to call it Conductor. And it's going to be .NET Framework 4.7.2. Place solution. Yep, that all looks good. This is where we're putting it. All right, so here we go. So we have this, and we could probably just compile and run this right now, but it obviously wouldn't do anything. We have our main window, the XAML, and then the code behind, which isn't going to have anything. So this is XAML. Yeah, of course, I had it open already. This is the code behind with the XAML. So obviously it doesn't do anything. And we've got our references, which is good. So we've got some core references that we already added. So the first thing that I need to do with this, I'm even having trouble moving around between windows here, but I need to grab, I've got the actual Conductor code open on another screen that you guys can't see. And looks like, and so I have some standard folders that I create. So let's get those created. Add folder. Folders. The model. Data, no, just data. And yeah, so basically I just have these standard folders that I use to kind of organize my code. And obviously you can organize your code however you want. And we're just gonna get these created real quick. This is probably not the most efficient way of doing this since I already have the code. I could probably have just copied the whole directory and renamed, but I don't know. I run into problems when I do try to do stuff like that. Always seems like something's missing. Okay, there's my standard folders. Good deal. So now it's a matter of getting the code in here, right? So I have this converter called a true false visibility converter that I use. Actually, I don't even know if I use it or not, but we'll assume that we are. And what I need to do is create a new C# class. And again, this is probably not the most efficient way of doing this, but true, false, you guys are going to see warts and all. Visibility, including my horrible typing converter. There we go. Let's go ahead and add that. And then I will come up here. I'm just going to copy all of this code. And we're going to paste it in here. As you can see, I'm already missing a reference, and out for my analysis services DLLs. So I need to get those. And the ones that I want, so I've got our references. Let's go ahead and add our reference. And yeah, I want these analysis services DLLs. So if you don't have these, if you install analysis services, you can find these, the DLLs, but these are going to provide the libraries that I'm going to use to interface with tabular services. So we're going to go ahead and add these into our project. And yep, our little squiggly goes away. Okay, so the next thing we're going to need is our data model. And it's going to be called data model.cs. All right, so let's go grab that code. I'll walk through some of this code with you guys. Okay, so I'm missing some references, system.web.script.serialization. I believe where I want to get that one from, let's say add reference. So before I got on here, I actually failed horribly. I want this one. Yeah. 4.7.2, yep. So then, well, system.web, why didn't that go away? Am I missing another reference? Oh yeah, system.web.extensions. And maybe system.net.http. Well, we'll find out. No, I got system.net. So with system.web.extensions, probably going to get it from the same place. Which system web? Let's see. We'll browse. We don't want there. We want this. Reference assemblies, Microsoft framework, .NET framework, 4.7.2, system.web. Extensions. You want to add that guy in there? Yep, I did it. And then we went Newtonsoft. Now I think this is a NuGet package. Manage NuGet packages. Browse. Newtonsoft. Newtonsoft, it just came up there. Newtonsoft.json. .json.bson. I don't know what that is. Yeah, we want this guy, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, do it. Okay. So now, yep, now this guy is gone. So Newtonsoft JSON, this is how I read and write JSON files. It's a really nice package. One of the things I hate is when like you get a program that writes a JSON file and it's just one huge long string of text with no returns and anyway. and not formatted properly. So Newtonsoft JSON takes care of all that. So anyways, this is the data model. And as you can see here, we've got like the string server, string database. These are going to get passed in from the command line argument. I'll show you how to do that later. If they don't get passed in, there's a fallback to use a connection string, and there's a UI for that. So this is just all initializing the data model. And there's not much to this. This is really kind of the bare bones of what you need in a data model, if you will, to just access the the tabular instance that's running under Power BI for the data set, right? So again, I mean, all we're doing is okay, this server is defined as analysis services tabular server. You say new server, and then we just connect to it, connect to the database. We set a few a few variables here for this class that allows us to easily connect to that stuff. And that's it. I mean, and so this, in terms of Conductor, really doesn't need to know much about anything as far as the model goes, because we're not writing measures, we're not writing, creating new columns, we're not doing any of that sort of stuff. We just have to know how to connect to it, because Conductor allows you to, once you launch it, it allows you to run any of the other tools in the external toolbar and connect to the data, the data set that you're connected to. So if you're, this is about as bare bones as you can get. Now, okay, so this is our app tag. We don't want enterprise DNA in here. MSHGQM. Not that we're going to write anything to the data model anyway, but just to cover our bases. These app tags, a lot of times, the external tools, if they do something to the data model, they'll write an annotation that just kind of says, hey, I've been here, kind of thing. So that's that. This all looks good. And we can move on to our external tools code. I've got, external tools group, external tools. Okay, so let's go back here. External tools, external tool groups.cs. Right, and go grab the code for that. This is pretty simple. All right, so all this is just a class to store our groups. So for conductors, for our Conductor program, essentially. And so basically we have a JSON file that we're going to read into this class, essentially. And so we've got a file path, file name, group description and stuff. So essentially, down the line, we will take this JSON file that we create, and we'll just serialize it into this class, essentially. Now, it's pretty simple code to do, but what this really does behind the scenes, this is a separate JSON file that sits out there. And what its purpose is to keep track, if you customize like the description or the name or the group and that sort of stuff, it keeps track of that in this file based upon the original file name of the JSON file that's sitting out there, just so that you can customize things and keep track of those across installations of, like, so if you install DAX Studio, but you customize, the name and put it in a different group and that sort of stuff, and then you reinstall it, this JSON file tracks that, so that basically it still shows up in the original group that you created and customized with your custom description, all of that sort of stuff. All right, that was a long-winded explanation for that. And then the external tools class is basically the same thing. Let's see, add item. No worry, we don't have a ton of these to go through and do. There's really, the code for Conductor is fairly clean, actually. External tools.cs. I can't say that for most of my programs. Okay, so this is the same thing, essentially. We've just got, and you can see some of these JSON ignore. These are some Newtonsoft commands that allow you, when you're writing this out, it's going to ignore this particular property when it writes it out to a file. But this is the file for reading in the actual JSON files for the external tools. So you can see it's got ID, version, name, description, all these things that appear, your icon data, all these things that appear in. Now, I think this group actually is left over from my original attempt to I'm going to leave it in there because I'm not sure what it would do if I took it out, but I think I eliminated the use for it. The original thought I had was, well, I'll just write an additional group property into the JSON file of the original external tool, and that'll be my, how I know what group that you want to put it in. Now, the obvious fail to that is, oh, I reinstall the external tool and now it overwrites the JSON file and I lose my group, which is why I moved to the other way of doing it, because I realized that that was a stupid idea. So this is just basically what reads in the JSON files for the external tools. That's all this class does, is there for. Okay, let's see. We just got a few more of these to go through. I don't even know if this one's used, but we're going to create it anyway because it's in the original code. I don't know what this is doing, but obviously we're missing a reference here for Windows Forms. So we probably need to add that. System.windows.forms. System.windows.forms. There it is. All right, I got rid of all of that stuff. What is this thing even doing? Was this for some kind of pop-up or something, or I was messing around trying to do splash screens? Maybe this came out of that, and then I figured out, oh no, it's really easy to add a splash screen. You don't have to do all this crap. Yeah, probably one of those. Probably, okay, I said the code was clean, maybe not. I mean, sometimes you go down a path, right, trying to do something. Like I think I was trying to add splash screens in. I was getting all these old blog articles on how to do it, and they were like, you got to do this, you got to do this, you got to, blah, blah, blah. And then I realized that, oh, no, you just have to, like, add an image and then set it as a type of splash screen and you're done, which is what I showed in the Enterprise DNA video. But yeah. So let's see. I don't need those images because I do need certain images. Because I need the images for all of my shameless self-promotion, which ends up being in the, I don't think I can just do this, right? I can't just say copy from here and then paste into here. Oh, no, it doesn't. Of course it can't. Fine. Okay, so I need my images. Let's do this. I know my images are in all of my old files. Yeah, there they all are. So let's see. Do I just, this is, you guys are seeing all my failings as a programmer. Maybe I just take those images, go into my images directory and paste them. Oh, I love this about 11. The number one thing that I do is I copy and paste stuff, and they moved it to the more options of Windows 11. Ugh, I just want to smack somebody. Anyway, sorry, I'm trying not to get, I promised myself I would not get off on tangents. But now let's see, I doubt that they're actually going to show up here unless I add them. Existing item. Hang on. Shift. Really? Really? That doesn't work. I hate you. Maybe. Getting used to this sometimes. All right, we'll just select them one by one. We want all these images. There we go. These are all these cover these little images that appear up in the top pane for advertising purposes. All right, so we got that. That was more painful than what it needed to be. And we need our string dictionary. Okay. String dictionary.xaml. Oh, yeah. General. WPF. Here's the splash screen. That's not what I want. I want just a XAML file. Gee, wouldn't you think it'd be a page, a window, user control, resource dictionary? Resource dictionary? Huh, there we go. That's fine. String dictionary. Dictionary. Maybe I should increase the magnification since my eyesight isn't what it used to be. Okay, yep. So these are just some strings, and actually these are all related to the one screen where if you don't launch it from Power BI desktop, it actually launches an additional screen that tells you to, hey, paste in a connection string for me. All right, that's all that is. And yes, I did refill my cup of coffee before I started all this. Let's see. All right, so now, yeah, that's a user control. And then my app config, my app, I need an icon still. Connection string input. Yep. That's a user control. Okay, so we got a couple of things to bring over here. And actually, I'm going to create, I didn't do this in the original Conductor, but I am going to create a new folder for my UI. Put that there. So I need an icon. All right, so we're going to use as an icon for this thing. I think I've asked my son several times to create me an icon for this, and he has failed me. That's okay. He's got more important things on his plate, I am sure. So should we just use the standard Mushgukam icon? There's an icon. Let's use that. So let's see. Copy as, I mean, why? Why not just have copy? What do you think people do in File Explorer? Microsoft, we copy and paste stuff. Hello. Anyway, that's all right. So back to here. And we'll just paste it here. Okay, so more options. Paste. I guess maybe they're like, oh, you should use Control-C, Control-V, whatever, man. All right. I'd rather just use DOS if I have to do that way. All right, so I need to add in, I don't want to call it that though. Speaking of using DOS. Move propog.ic and to conductor.ico. All right, so we got that guy. Add new item. Nope, not a new item. Add existing item. That guy. Oh, that's not the icon I wanted. We're gonna need a different icon. Maybe I can. Is this? It's a JPEG. What other icons do I have here? I gotta have an icon that is. Maybe I'll just use my typical Mushgookum icon, which is this guy, which I can find. I can find that. In my source repos. This should still have. Yeah, I think this icon is the original icon. Okay, I gotta get used to this. So I select this and hit Control-C. Is that going to allow me to copy it? Okay, yes, it did. Now I don't want this icon. I can't even delete it. Yes. Oh, no. Delete. Okay, fine. Oh, then it doesn't even warn you. Yeah, that's the right icon. I didn't want to do that, though. I wanted to rename it. Okay. More painful than it should be. Okay, I know that that's not the actual icon. Yes, that is the icon. Okay, so File Explorer doesn't refresh very well. Great. All right, so now we've got that. After that painful experience, we've got our icon in there. So now we're going to need some screens. So one of the things we're going to need is our connection string input. So we're going to put that in here. New item. And this is a user control. So this is connection string input dot XAML. That looks correct. And when you create a user control, it creates the XAML and also creates the code behind. So I need to grab this XAML code. Well, probably should grab the connection string input first. there's that. Yeah, so it's, well, anyway, it's not finding certain things. That's okay. We can correct that later. Okay, so okay, yeah, those went away. I was gonna say this one should not go away yet because we have not written that code yet or transported that code over yet. So that's that one. And then yeah, I need to add this add tool UI. Which is also, although I'll probably be nerfing it so that you have limited options or more limited options around adding tools and things like that. Or editing things, we'll just have to see how that goes. And now we have this add tool. So this is basically the interface screen for if you want to add a brand new external tool. It also comes into play when you're editing external tools. Okay, so that's that. And then I need to transfer over this code to the XAML. I did make myself my life a little easier when I did all this in that in Quick Measures Pro, then the project is actually called Conductor. And in this case, it is also called Conductor. So when I transfer code over, my namespaces is the same. Otherwise, I'd have to be going in and updating all the namespaces every time. And that is a true pain in the butt because I've done it. So yeah, so this is the editing screen, right? Where you're going through if you want to change the name or the description, or if you want to add a tool, that kind of stuff. So this is the screen for doing that. And then this is the screen, doesn't show up very well, but this ends up, you end up being able to paste in a connection string, essentially, if you don't launch it from Power BI so that it knows, what's going on. All right, so that's connection string input, and then the settings panel. The settings panel, okay, so the settings panel, I don't want it from Conductor because that has the very nice, this will be fun. Because there is some settings that need to happen. Yeah, so it's going to have to be a combination of the free version settings panel, which has all of the images and all of that sort of stuff, as well as certain parts from the other one. All right, so let's just start. Quit hemming and hawing about this. Add new item. It is also a user control. And it is our settings panel. So this is the panel at the top where I do my shameless self-promotion in the free versions of the tools. And so we are going to need the exact code from Conductor. All right. So there's that. And let's start with the code from, yeah, we're gonna have to start with the code from Conductor for the XAML. Then we're gonna have to modify it. Because one, yeah, it does not have the enterprise. So should we just get rid of this? So I got this stack panel here. Let's get rid of this for right now. All right, now we're going to get into a little bit of actual code modification here. So let's see what we got going on here. This is stack panel, horizontal. Its orientation is horizontal. So there's supposed to be an enterprise DNA logo that shows up over here. Obviously, we did not have that in this project because I didn't transfer over those images. But this has to get modified anyway because there's certain pieces and parts of this that so then it goes into a stack panel vertical. Okay, So really, okay, let me see. Let's grab our, what we want it to look like is like this, with all of our books across here, and then our different things that we support over here. And then we'll probably have the external tools stuff underneath, right? So what I want to do is kind of do a mashup of these two. And this is, I don't even know what project this is. It's Power Sort. Okay, doesn't matter. Most all of them are the same. So here's my settings panel XAML from that guy. Yeah. So let's see what we got here. We got stack panel horizontal image. Da, 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 da. Okay. And that's grid row 0. And we put our enterprise DNA button, and then we do our another stack panel. So in theory, I could copy these guys right to there. Oh no, it keeps going on. I've got GitHub and then YouTube. Need that stack panel. Where did I start this? Okay, do that. And then okay, I'm going to have to update the references, obviously, but then also it's the horizontal. That's why I shoved those over there. I do want it to be horizontal. So what I want to do is, let's go back. Let's grab it all the way to here instead. Yep, YouTube stack panel. Okay. So it's fun getting this right. So what I want is to say, okay, I'm going to do vertical. And then I'm going to place that stack panel in there. Yep, so there is that. And then all I should have to do haha, look at that. Conductor. It's just a way to reference. See, it's like you put in your class name, then it's the semicolon component, then slash images, and then you know, because it's sitting in my images directory, obviously, basically it's after the component. You're just pasting in the path to it within the solution. Where the semicolon component comes from, I have no idea. I'm sure I learned it from somewhere, somebody looking at something on the internet or whatever, but that's how you do it, or it's how I learned how to do it. So let's see, we got this. Why is this? What is this? External tools directory, backup tools directory. Oh, that's where I show up the little connection string. When you that's where that'll appear when you are once you launch it. So I think we're looking pretty good. We still have our get main window, but that's actually a function in our main window, which we haven't done yet. So I think I've got my add tool, I've got my connection string input, I got my window, I got my settings panel. So that is all done. And then I really just need to transfer over my main window code. which is kind of the main window code in this case is kind of the heart of everything in Conductor. As you can see, we have nothing here right now. So what we're going to do the same thing, transfer over our main window code, and then we're going to need to transfer over the main window XAML as well. And it's not liking something. Otherwise, it would have showed up here. Let me undo that. Conductor.main window. And a notepad. Move that off. Okay, what is it not liking about? I'm pasting it in over here. Doesn't like some stuff. Settings panel doesn't like, does not exist in the namespace. Pretty sure it does. Settings panel. Settings panel. Settings panel. Maybe if we build this thing that it actually works. Let's do a clean. Still didn't like it. Oh, are we ready to build or not? What are we getting there? Is true false visibility converter doesn't exist. True false visibility converter. True false visibility converter. True false visibility converter. We should have a false true visibility converter. And just not recognizing a bunch of stuff. But I drink a little bit of coffee here. But in theory, if we build this, sometimes it works these things out. So let's just build it and see how badly this thing happens. Before I do that, I'm not seeing anything else that we're missing here. Let's just try it and see what it works out. All right, it's giving us a bunch of errors. Settings panel does not contain the definition of BR button click. No accessible method for BR button click, excepting the first and blah, blah, blah. So it didn't work everything out. So we got to figure out, so this is the fun part about coding, right? We got to figure out what in the world is going on. It looks like it's all around. No, it doesn't like this namespace conductor. Yeah, doesn't like a lot of stuff. Settings panel does not contain definition for BR button click. All right, so let's see. Let's start there. Oh, you're probably right about that. You're absolutely right about that. Because I did not combine the code. I mashed together the code for the XAML, but there's actually events that are tied into these. And I did not mash that code into here. So yeah, you're exactly right that it's missing some functions. Let's go correct that. That's easy enough to do. If I can find my power sort code, right? And I can go into the code behind. Let's see. We have a bunch of stuff here. Do we have anything that overlaps? I need this on 2 screens so I can see this. Okay, so in here I have a cancel button click. I have a visibility changed event, which I don't think I want to modify. Copy button click. OK button clicked. Yeah, I know I need this hyperlink request navigate. And there's all the event stuff that happens. Again, like I think I mentioned this once before, that most of my code goes into the UI. It's like, coding this stuff isn't really about Power BI so much as getting the UI correct, which is kind of like every other application. So DNA button clicked. Down. Okay, that's fine. I don't care. All right, that should resolve a lot of those errors that we had. Yes, it did. Okay, true, false does not, so knocked out some of them. Settings does not contain a definition for external tools directory and no accessible extension method external tools directory. External tools backup. Pretty surprised if that's the case. So it's telling me that external tools backup, no accessible method for external tools backup. Well, why is that the case? I'm pretty sure I didn't get rid of that code. External tools backup. It's there. Yeah, I'm getting some weird errors here. So I'm trying to figure out, there's usually a root cause where something is not liking something, and then it just generates a bunch of other errors. Just because it, I don't know, gets into a mood, I suppose you could say. So the question is, what is the root cause of all of these problems? Why doesn't it like my true false visibility converter? Yeah, this is the same code as Conductor. So here's the Conductor code. A little big. So what, is there anything, and I copied and pasted this over from one to the other. Conductor.main window. Presentation, XAML, blend 2008, 2006. CLR dash namespace conductor. CLR dash namespace conductor. D main on window closing, Conductor Pro. That would need to be changed. Conductor. That's fine. That's fine. So it's got to be this namespace. CLR namespace Conductor. Oh, like I said, this was a bad idea. But these are the trials and tribulations you go through trying to code this stuff. There's no reason why doesn't it like that. Oh, something's ringing a bell here. It's my assembly. It's probably something. Yeah. Okay. So, all right. So I remember this now. I've run into this before. So, got to get your app.xaml correct in your app config and all that. So here is the app XAML from Conductor. As you can see, you know, it does have the CRLM, but this is probably what's causing quite a bit of the problems. Like it can't, I don't have my application resources defined, and I've actually had my startup URI. You can see is different between the two. So this is startup application startup versus main window. That XAML, you know, startup URI versus startup. So this all looks the same. So I'll just that's probably causing some of the problems. Source resources, string dictionary. I'm sure it'll resolve that eventually, unless I misspelled it. String dictionary.xaml. Think it'll get there if we rebuild. Let's see, what about the app config? Hope didn't do that. Yeah, here we go. What is this? Yeah, user settings. So that is missing. Here's yeah, this is why it's complaining about external tools. Yeah. Okay, can I just copy and paste this over from one to the other? What is this doing in here? You know what? Fortune favors the bold. We're gonna paste that code off in case we screw something up. All right. Put that over here. Let's give this another shot. Okay, we're getting less errors. App does not contain a definition for application startup and no accessible. Oh, I hate this. String dictionary.xaml. Oh no, we're getting more errors. Does not contain definition for application startup. I remember this somewhere. Let's see, application startup, application startup, application underscore startup. This is stuff that kills me because I remember I've done this before and then I can't remember. So give me a second. I'm going to find in files on my other code that you guys can't see. Yeah, oh, it's in the app.xaml.cs. Duh. I tell you. Yeah. So, yeah, so there's no function for it. So what we have to do is we have to create one. Yeah, this guy. Poof. There we go. Now we have application startup. All right, let's see what happens now. An error occurred while finding the resource dictionary resources string dictionary.xaml. Resources string dictionary.xaml. So why did you have a problem with that? Resources string. Am I really misspelling this thing? And I just can't see it. RESOURCES STRINGDICTIONARY.XAML. Why are you having a problem with that? It still is having a problem with true false visibility converter. It doesn't like my connection string input. Something's still off. So I'm just checking some stuff out, guys. Yep, that's right. Okay, maybe it's because it didn't save those. So there those are. Those are correct. Maybe it hadn't recognized that I had done that kind of under the hood. Oh yeah, that got rid of a bunch of stuff. Okay, maybe it didn't recognize that it had done some other stuff under the hood. And look at that, magic. This is visuals. This is coding for you guys. Just looking you right in the eyes. Microsoft, this is what you make us deal with. Why put us through this pain? Okay, so yeah, I did nothing and magically fixed itself. So couldn't find this, couldn't find that, had everything right, and Visual Studio's just, anyway. This stuff, literally, I waste hours just on dumb stuff like this. It just kills me. Okay. We've got a successful build. After all that, oh, all right. So, yeah, anyway. Okay, so, I don't know, let's see, I don't know where we're at on this in terms of time. But obviously, we don't have our installer yet, which we will want to have. But in theory, right, I think I can start this, and it should come up with that UI screen where it asks me for a connection string. Yeah, sure. Yeah, so here it asks me for the connection string. So this is that UI connection string thing that I was talking about. Let's cancel here. Now, one of the things we can do, I'll show you something. I don't want to sign in right now. Let's just create a simple data model. Yeah, column 1, 1, 2, 3. Doesn't really matter. We're not going to do anything with this anyway. We just want something to connect to. All right, so here's my external tools menu right now. Now I've got Conductor Pro is already configured here. And I'll show you guys what it does. Maybe it does nothing. Oh, because I don't have a backup directory set. Anyway, set your backup directory. Your external tools will show up here. What we really want is this guy. This data. All we want is this data source connection. Right here tells us our server, which is localhost colon 53.162, and our initial cala, which is our database, which is this GUID. So what we can do on this is that we can come over here, and I think if I go to properties and debug, I can give it command line arguments, which means I can tell it, I can send it to this, I can simulate as if it was running from Power BI Desktop, and it was Power BI Desktop was passing in the server and then the database as command line parameters. Okay, so I've got those set. So now, if we run this, we shouldn't get the connection UI string. Yes, it pops up, and here we go. Okay, so a backup directory. Okay, let's go this PC, C drive. I don't have a temp directory, so let's make a new temp directory here. Go into the temp directory. Okay, I'm making a file. Okay. Boy, that interface is awful. Conductor. So let's set that. Yes, so there. So there all my icons show up. They're in my external toolbar. We can add, what is the, oh yeah, that's where I can set the order of them. So more or less, it updates my toolbar. I also have my right-click menu. So yeah, so we have Conductor. It's up and running. It works. We've transferred all the code over. I might want to add in my new book, Mastering Power BI Second Edition, We're going to want to nerf certain features. We'll probably turn this off. Probably maybe turn this add button off and all that. And we still need an installation. So that'll be next. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to end this video. And in the next video, then now we have this damn thing up and running. I'm going to go ahead and do that. Right. So I'll add in the installer and show you guys, walk you guys through how to install the program, move the JSON files over and all that sort of stuff as far as that goes. And also I'll go through and nerf a bit of this, add in a new book that I've just written is in a pre-release right now, where you can pre-order, called Mastering Power BI Second Edition. It's written again in conjunction with Brett Powell, who's fantastic to work with, and I collaborated with on the Microsoft Power BI Cookbook Second Edition. He wrote the first edition, and then I was primary on writing the second edition. I'm in the same kind of relationship on Mastering Power BI Second Edition. He's been tremendous to work with. Just learn, I learn a ton working with him. So it's just great overall collaboration. That'll be out. So yeah, that'll be the next video. I'll go through and do that. And then, if you guys like this kind of content, and I've got this idea for another app, it's not anything super useful, I don't think, but as I've come to work with the tabular services, analysis services model quite a bit, I've realized the importance of something called annotations, which I don't think are really widely known out there in the community. It really caused me, literally, I say it tore my hair out for 2 days. I tore my hair out for 2 days on metadata mechanic, trying to get one particular thing to work, which was updating custom format strings for like date fields and that sort of thing. It was all due to annotations. So I don't think it's very widely known out there in the community. So I want to kind of highlight that. So I was going to create, maybe in the one of these next ones, I'll create one of these tools literally from scratch. So this one, was a lot of copy and pasting code over from what I'd already written, but I'll just code one from scratch, which is going to be like an annotation viewer, just to allow you to see the annotations that are on different objects within the data model. I don't know how it's going to turn out, but it's something that interests me and I wanted to kind of do. I don't think it's particularly useful other than maybe for developers that are writing this sort of stuff. But yeah, or maybe I'll turn it into a full-blown where you can add your own annotations and stuff. I really don't know how useful that would be or anything, but it is something I kind of am interested in, because not a lot's known about annotations. You don't really get any kind of insights into annotations, but turns out in certain cases they are highly important. So anyway, so that's Conductor. That's coding Conductor, and maybe in the next one we'll have a little more time, and I can actually walk you through some of the code that's in Conductor, because again, we're just copying and pasting this stuff over. But yeah, there you go. Coding Conductor, external tool for Power BI. See you guys next time.